In East Africa, the Ethiopian government is blaming Egypt for supporting rebels and forcing Addis Ababa on Sunday into declaring a state of emergency. At least 50 people were killed in a stampede more than a week ago after security forces fired on anti-government protesters during a religious festival in Bishoftu, southeast of the capital. The incident sparked more violence in Oromia, where farms, factories and government buildings were torched last week. Egypt and Ethiopia are locked in a dispute over the waters of the Nile River.
We know for a fact the terrorist group OLF has been receiving all kinds of support from Egypt. Its leaders have been feted. I mean, it used to be in Asmara, now they are feted in Cairo. And of course, they have been given all kinds of instructions to destabilize this country. And they have been bragging about their capacity to do so. And do so in a manner that is quite condescending, even to the very cause they say they are promoting.
Well, German Chancellor Angela Merkel has arrived in Ethiopia after a fresh flare-up near the capital, Addis Ababa. The clashes have cast a shadow over a nation with one of Africa's fastest-growing economies. On Tuesday, Chancellor Merkel told the East African nation to open up its politics and ensure police did not use heavy-handed tactics against protesters. For more insight on Chancellor Merkel's visit and the situation in Ethiopia, I'm joined in the studio by VOA Solomon Abate. Solomon, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you, Makori, for having me here.
So what has been the reaction of Merkel's visit to Ethiopia?
Chancellor Merkel visited Ethiopia today, and she left back to Germany. She concluded her three-nation visit in Africa by her last stopover in Addis. And she reminded Ethiopian officials that it is necessary to limit the use of forces, not to use the excessive force during these kinds of activities. And she offered training, if necessary, for the police forces in Ethiopia. And she also called for dialogue, open discussions with the opposition forces and with the people as well. And the Prime Minister, on his part, said the government is planning to reform the electoral law and to engage with the opposition parties as well.
Which is very interesting, because the government at the same time has said all that we are seeing in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa, is because of Egypt. Egypt is pushing the rebels to kind of revolt against the government. Is there any validity in those claims?
Well, the government, has been accusing the external forces for all violent activities since long ago. The Eritrean government is one of them for harboring armed opposition groups there. And they were suggesting in some ways that Egyptians were trying to destabilize the security and stability, peace of Ethiopia, partly because of the Nile, as you know. But these days they started officially calling Egypt by name for supporting groups like Gumbot Sabat. Gumbot Sabat means Gumbot 7 opposition group, and the OLF, the Oromo Liberation Front, one of the oldest Ethiopian.
But in this case, we're seeing thousands, in fact, hundreds of thousands of citizens on the streets of Addis Ababa and elsewhere. Is the Ethiopian government in some way saying that Ethiopians on themselves have no grievances against their government, and that this is all about some external powers that have the, a personal beef with the government?
Well, one of the biggest opposition coalitions in Ethiopia, that is Federal Democratic Unity Forum, and the chairman of the forum the day before yesterday told VOA that Ethiopia has been under de facto state of emergency throughout the years of EPRDF in the country, because there were limited opportunities to express your opinion, opposition, and so forth. So the opposition says the problem is internal, not external.
Thank you. Solomon, we'll definitely call you back perhaps for more on this. Thanks a lot
Thank
for
you.
joining us today.
Thank you.